right, it is 7:05, and I'm going to call tonight's meeting to order. Are you there, Dr. Fortuna? Yep, she's.
I saw her,
Yep,
yes.
I think she's on there. Okay. So we are going to rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. First up is public comment. Anyone? And there is no one on Zoom, Liz? Okay. All right, any comment from the board? Okay, next up is, we're cruising through this. Next up is Chair's report. Next up is Chair's report. Tony is unavailable this evening, and he did not give me anything to read, so we don't have a Chair's report. So, student representatives report, we do not have a student representative. So, review and approve minutes. Do we have minutes in the folder? There were no minutes.
See any minutes.
Okay, do we have any line item transfers? Do we have any donations? No. Okay, and the warrants are in your folder for you to review. Okay, superintendent's report.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
And I'm sorry I can't be there with you in person, but I apologize for my camera quality. It's awful if you can see me on the giant TVs. So I actually am pretty excited about my superintendent's report tonight.
Okay.
So tonight's report is a bit of a tale of two cities. I have some excellent news to share, and I also have some concerning news that we need to discuss. I'm a firm believer in starting on a high note, so let's talk about the good news first. I am thrilled to announce that we have received a DESE grant for high-impact tutoring to support 117 of our students at the primary school. We are partnering with a group called Ignite Reading, and I want to take a moment to explain why this is such a big deal. High-dosage tutoring with this specific organization is something I actually tried to initiate during my times in Brookline and Boston, but the funding just wasn't there. I am incredibly excited that we secured this grant to finally bring this caliber of support to the students of Lunenburg. Ignite is backed by serious research. A study by Johns Hopkins University, which is still ongoing, looking at the 2023-24 school year, found that first graders who received this tutoring saw a 213% increase in reading on benchmark. Perhaps even more importantly, the number of students needing intensive intervention dropped by 55%. What I love about this data is that it was equitable. Students across all demographics, multilingual learners, students of color, and those with IEPs all gained an average of 5.4 months of added learning compared to national averages. So our implementation plan, and I know Mrs. Squire is there and she will talk more about this as well, is we are going to begin the week of March 9th. Our primary focus is grade 1 with some additional seats for kindergarten and grade 2. We are specifically targeting students performing below or well below benchmark. The commitment is intensive. It's 15 minutes a day, 5 days a week. And the next steps are families of selected students will be receiving permission slips. And this is actually delivered one-on-one via a real tutor, but it's delivered through the computer. Moving on to our financial updates and grants. First, regarding the grant amendment by Dr. Sarfti presented at our last meeting, that has been approved by DESE. So in our Student Opportunity Act grant, we have a remaining allocation of roughly $58,500. Going towards touch view screens for the primary school.
Dr. Fortuna, can you hear us?
Yes,
We-
now I can.
Sorry, your audio dropped out when you started on the student opportunity
You
grant.
said 58 grand. We missed after that.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. About 41,000 of that covers fixed costs, including instructional support, stipends, summer prep, and materials. The remaining balance of roughly 17,000 will be dedicated to contracted professional development. I want to extend a sincere thank you to our legislators for fighting for our earmark funds. The first of these one-time funds was approved this week, and here is how that money is hitting the ground in our schools. 36,000 is going toward touch view screens for the primary school. 7,000 will fund IXL for our middle school students. 10,000 is going towards safety improvements across all 3 campuses, specifically for a sander attachment and harnesses. Given the winter it's been so far, I'm excited to have this. And the remaining funds will cover smaller but vital projects, like buying a few iPads and some Cuisinart rods. A quick note on a pivot we are making. We had originally allocated about $42,700 for iReady diagnostic assessments in the teacher toolbox. However, after consulting with Dr. Sarfti, we realized that given how late in the year the approval came through, trying to launch an assessment platform now wouldn't be the best use of time or money. We decided those funds could be better utilized elsewhere, so please look out for an amendment proposal coming to you soon. Now I need to shift gears for the difficult part of the report. I want to be transparent with the committee regarding our special education status. We are reaching a tipping point. As you know, we made specific budget cuts last year. Those cuts resulted in limitations to the in-district programming we can offer. We are now seeing the unintended consequences of those decisions. We currently have students on our radar who may require out-of-district placement because we simply do not have the internal structure to support them right now. Additionally, we have had new students move into the district whose needs require out-of-district placements or who already have out-of-district placement. I am raising this now to give the committee a heads up. It's a very real possibility that we will start seeing increases in our special education tuition lines in the near future. We are monitoring this closely, but I wanted to make sure you were aware of the landscape as it stands today. In closing, I recognize that tonight's report represents a complex mix of significant wins and serious challenges. While the financial headwinds regarding our special education obligations are concerning, I want to assure the committee that we are monitoring every line item with vigilance. Our strategy remains twofold: aggressively pursue outside funding like the IGNITE grant and legislative earmarks to innovate and improve instruction, while simultaneously being completely transparent about the structural pressures on our operating budget. We will continue to keep you informed in real time as the out-of-district numbers solidify. Thank you for your partnership as we navigate these waters, and I am happy, as always, to answer any questions.
I have a question. What is the current number of out-of-district again? Can you remind us?
Juliana is on. I don't have that number
Okay.
at the top of my head, but she will.
I think
Juliana?
we're at 13 currently right now.
Okay, thank you.
Hold on, out of district, I just wanted to write that down. So what metric are we using to determine that we're likely to see more out-of-district placements? Was there a written report, or is this just Juliana having enough experience to know what's coming down the line?
I would say that it's Juliana knowing what's coming down the line and the increase in support that we are seeing that some of our students may need beyond what we can give them during the school day currently.
That's, it's very disappointing because that's not, it's better when we can keep students in the most appropriate, in the least restrictive environment possible. And it is disappointing to hear that the budget we have this year is not enabling us to provide that, what students need. Did you?
Yeah, I was just going to ask if the superintendent, as we talk about the budget for next year, if there are recommendations that, and you don't have to answer this in this moment, right? Like changes that you think maybe could help that situation moving forward, or if that, I mean, I know we're already talking about an override and, a bare minimum kind of increases. So just curious your thoughts on that, because obviously the costs for out-of-district placements are very high compared to staffing.
Yes, we need to discuss this as a team a little bit more. Mrs. Gilman, great question. What I'm anticipating may happen is that the interventionist position that we had a strategic plan for at the primary school may need to change to a special educator.
Yeah, okay. Well, thank you for your continuing to keep us informed. As we all know, and I think the more we learn about school budgets, they're not a static situation. They are an ever-changing group of children that you're serving and ever-changing needs. It's never going to be just one. I think just for all of us up here, we know that, but it's a good reminder, right? And I think it's a good reminder for the community as well, that nothing is
Static.
Yeah, nothing is static. One day's report is not the same as the next day's report.
I had a question about the tutoring grant. You said there was 117 students that will be serviced through that?
Yes.
Is that did you say it was the below and well below readers? Is
Yeah,
that
what
all
this-
of them?
Yes, what this will
Okay.
allow us to do is provide services to every student that needs them at primary.
Okay.
It's awesome.
Is this is just a one-time grant for this year? We won't be able to continue this next year?
I'm not sure about the continuation of this grant, if it's a multi-year cycle. It's a rather interesting grant. The state awards the money to the company, not to the district. So
That's bizarre.
the company lets us know how many seats that we have when we're awarded the grant. It was the most bizarre grant application I've ever filled out. So I don't know the answer to that question, but it will last for the recommended dosage time that students should have to see those gains that I reported.
What's the name of the tutoring company?
Ignite Reading.
Okay, so we don't get to choose the provider.
We did. I chose the provider. There were other organizations out there, but I know my colleague in Chelsea has had an exceptional experience with this particular group. And even though our students are different than the demographic in Chelsea, the gains that were made were astounding enough to have me choose this particular group to go with.
Okay. I'm very appreciative of the state for coming up with this one-time grant. I'm a little disappointed it's video only and doesn't involve, facilitating in-person relationships, and it's more screen time for students, but I'm thankful for them being willing to give us something. Is this in response to, did other towns get this, or is this in response to our reading scores in particular?
Other towns received this as well. It was a competitive grant process, and I think our data helped bring this to Lunenburg.
Okay. Did we know that you guys were applying for this one?
No, because the application process was so bizarre, what you did is you applied with the company. You didn't even apply through DESE, and at first I wasn't sure it was a real thing, quite honestly. I thought I was filling out an ad inquiry, but I went with it, and then to come to find out it was real. So I wanted to notify you as soon as I knew.
So do we need to vote to accept this grant as a school committee or not, because it doesn't involve money being transferred to us?
not because it doesn't involve money being transferred to us.
Okay, that's an interesting grant.
It really is, it was fascinating.
I have one other question about the grant. Is this going to take place during what would be intervention? So who will be taking the students to sit at the computer to do the tutoring? And
Some of those
how will
details
that-
we're still working out.
Okay.
I think Mrs. Squire and Dr. Safdie are there, and they can probably answer that better.
I'm just
for
wondering
you
about
at this point.
resources, since we're pretty slim. And will that take away from others that need the support we're talking about that they're not getting, I guess, is my train of thought.
No, so right now, we've outlined first and second grade, they're pretty independent. They can do it during intervention. And I have the numbers for you if you want specific numbers. So we have, in first grade, 19 students have been identified for MTSS support, and 47 students have been identified for the high-dosage tutoring. In second grade, I have 12 students that are MTSS through our interventionist, and 30 students who will be receiving the high dose. So we have covered every student in the below and well below will either be receiving MTSS or the high dosage tutoring. So
Okay.
we're able to hit in first and second grade. We're still working out the details for kindergarten because kindergarten kids are not as independent. And so we'd have to identify a location for them to go, somebody that could monitor. But we do have 24 students that could benefit from this. We just need to figure out some of the details. So we got from now until March to figure
Yeah.
that out. But it is something Dr. Sarfty and myself are looking at. How could we manage it?
So is it one-on-one or will it be small group? How does that
The
work?
tutoring is one-on-one.
Okay.
So it's, every student gets one-on-one tutoring, which is fantastic.
Okay.
It's, for kindergarten, it's just figuring out the logistics. First and second grade could do it during intervention. We have located areas within the building, whether it be right outside the classroom or in the back of the classroom, getting headphones and speakers so that they can communicate back and forth. So we're in the process of doing all of that. Kindergartens are tricky, but there is also a need to hit all of our students. So that's something we're still working on. I was going to give it to during my update of my school improvement plan because I have that and we have something else that is, we've applied and received free that will also help with our literacy at the primary school.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions?
No, thank you.
Okay, next up is new business. So the LHS Program of Studies.
Good evening.
Hello.
Thank you for having me here tonight to present the LHS 2026-27 Program of Studies. But first, I'd like to thank the LHS department heads for their updating and making current the choices that we are providing to students. So a program of studies is also known as a course catalog. It lists all the courses in different departments that could be taught by our licensed teachers. It does not mean that every course in our program of studies will run. It is a primary tool for students, parents, and guidance counselors to use to select classes for the upcoming school year. It also lists our graduation requirements, how many credits are needed in each of our departments. It talks about our GPA and our grading scale and how grades are calculated, how our class rank is determined, NCAA eligibility, which courses count for student athletes hoping to play college sports, prerequisites, rules about classes that must be taken before others. We do make some minor corrections from year to year, but we mostly keep the program intact. I believe you have a draft copy with those minor additions highlighted. So after school committee approval, we'll begin the process of course selection in the next few weeks. But that all starts with an approved program of studies in which I'm asking the committee to approve tonight. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have.
AP statistics, the prerequisite changed from from grade of 85 or recommendation of teacher to and recommendation of teacher. Was that just correcting an oversight, or?
That was correcting an oversight that should have been in for last year.
Okay. And can you talk about how the computer science changed?
So yes, computer science changed. We are adding that in. It's under mathematics right now, but hopefully to become a unified arts to join our graphic design and our CAD group so we can have more of a cluster of technology classes. But right now, Ms. Miller has volunteered to teach computer science, so it's going to fall in mathematics for right now. But I imagine coming back to the committee to move that into a unified arts credit.
Okay. How many times a year do we, or how many times next year will we, is that every semester, we offer that every semester or just once a year?
That will all depend on course registration and how many students decide to sign up for it. That's why we listed here, if we get 40 kids, we get 20 kids, that'll all depend on how many times we run that course.
Okay. Was there any other changes you wanted to talk about?
We had some slight adjustments also in our visual arts with ceramics, which is one of our most popular courses. And instead of kids taking ceramics 2 years in a row, we've now come up with ceramics 1 and ceramics 2. So those students that really want to excel in that piece, that they're able to do it without repeating the course, and kind of adds to our ability to provide some different choice for students while still maintaining the same amount of teachers.
I went to the craft fair, I think 2 years ago, and the ceramics students had a booth there. It was very popular, and they make some really cool stuff.
Amazing stuff. As you should come into the art room and take a look. It's amazing.
Yeah, okay. And the CAD program is new?
CAD program, I believe, is renamed. I think we had it as coding, and now we have it as computer-aided design. So just some minor kind of revisions for that class.
Okay. And the music technology one, we had that before, didn't we? The beat making, composition and music technology?
We had a similar class, I think, based on student requests that we're trying to change things up in order to get some more students into those music electives.
Is that a popular class?
Yeah, yes, it all depends on the cohort. Sometimes you get, 28, sometimes you get 18. It depends on the students that are signing up for it.
Okay. Yep, sorry, I'm just going through it. Oh yeah, and you added sculpture. Did anything change significantly because of the MCAS requirement dropping and us moving more, trying to move in the direction of the mastery of subjects?
Nothing has changed in terms of what we're offering our students in mathematics in that part, no.
Okay, because we were already, okay.
Yeah.
So this is an action item, so you'd like us to vote to approve it?
Yes, please.
Okay. Oh, does anyone have any questions?
No.
Nope. Okay. Comments? All right. Can I get a motion to approve the LHS Program of Studies?
I'll make a motion to approve the LHS Program of Studies.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
This is the start of the scheduling?
This is the start of our scheduling season. Yeah, it won't be
Okay.
for a couple weeks, but then we'll start with meetings,
Good.
with student meetings, guidance, we'll put it out to parents, then we'll begin with a course registration, and then with scheduling.
Okay. Good luck.
Thank you.
Hopefully it's calmer than last year.
I know.
Knock on wood. Okay, school choice. I think Liz dropped something in our folder about that. Dr. Fortuna, or did you want to talk about the school choice recommendations?
I'm sorry, my video is off. So in your folders, you had the school choice recommendations that our principals are making. As you can see, the only school that we can offer school choice at, given our current class size, is the high school. And the number of seats are included in your folder.
Okay, so, yep, the recommendations were, we don't have, the class sizes are rising, and we don't have space. We already have some students who opted in, so the only space would be at the high school. So these numbers aren't due to the state until June, is that correct?
Correct.
Is there a benefit to making the decision now? Not that I want to delay it, I'm just asking.
I think for us, the benefit to making the decision now is for budgetary purposes.
Okay. I know that there was discussion at the tri-board about using school choice to raise funds for the schools.
Yeah.
Can we explain to the public how school choice works and what we receive in exchange for letting students school choice in?
Absolutely. So school choice works by the state will reimburse us for the student seats, but they only reimburse us a little over $5,000 per each student. Our cost of educating a student in Lunenburg, our per pupil expenditure is slightly over $17,000 currently. So as you can see, there's kind of a big delta between 5,000 and 7,000. So we don't really make that big of a return on investment. So the importance is to only put those students in a class where you already have the teacher that's teaching it, that there's extra seats in that classroom. So that's why these recommendations are so tight this year, because we genuinely don't feel that we have that space at any school besides the high school.
Okay. Does anyone have more questions?
Yes, I'm just curious if, not even really related to this recommendation, but just the tri-board discussion, I'm curious if we have any data that we could look at about how many school choice kids we've had over the years, why this continues to come up, because my understanding is that we haven't had a lot of school choice. And could those school choice money they're looking at be when Shirley didn't have a high school?
A long time ago, yes, right? Liz would know that.
So I think
A long
that's-
time ago. But that wasn't school choice, that was a
Non-resident tuition.
yeah, that was.
Okay, so it was a different place in the budget. Okay, for the public, for a
And
while.
we got more money.
Yeah, when I was in high school, Shirley didn't have a high school, so we had about 10 to 15 students from Shirley who would come to Lunenburg because there wasn't a place for them to go. And when Aaron Shirley became a regional school, we lost those students. So that's why every time it comes up at tri-board, I'm thinking, could that be part of it? But I guess that's not, because it's a different line item. Okay. Yeah, just more for future discussion, I'd be interested in that, just like why we keep saying that we used to make a lot of money off of it.
I'm also interested in,
Data from
Okay,
yeah, she's,
okay. That would be just helpful for me.
I think I asked for that last year, and we got that last year, so.
Oh, yeah, maybe I just
Yeah.
haven't seen it yet.
No, yeah, because, so I'd also be interested in where our students, where we're taking students in from, which towns our students are coming to us from, and where we have, because students choicing out to, because we also have students who choice out to other towns. And I think that would be helpful information.
I do think that would be helpful. It would be very interesting to know if people are leaving to go to bigger high schools or different places that have different offerings.
Yep, where people are opting to go. Is that something that we could get?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I have that data.
Okay, that's very, yeah, I think that would be useful. All right, so this is, do you have questions, Emily? Okay, yeah.
I'll make
so-
a motion to accept the school choice recommendations of the superintendent for 26-27 season? Season, year, school year, whatever.
I second. thinking about football?
Yes, exactly.
Baseball,
Baseball, football, whatever. TV season, whatever.
whatever it is.
So that's a second?
Yeah.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Nope.
Tony will be
Motion
so proud of
passes. Okay. Next up is temporary proposal to move school committee meetings to LMHS. Do you want me to do that, or do you want to?
Why don't you go ahead and do that one, Laura?
So town hall is not very accessible if someone was not able to walk. So for the foreseeable future, I think we were looking for a motion to move our meetings to LMHS, which is a lot more accessible and does not involve stairs up to a stage even, and does not involve that terrifying lift.
I make a motion to move all of our meetings to LMHS until further notice.
I'll second, and I have a lot to say
Okay,
about it.
and I do.
You can have a lot to say about it.
I do want to point out that this is, as someone who's also on the Building Reuse Committee, looking at an accessible town hall, this is a prime example of how we cannot have some people come to a meeting because they cannot access the stage. And that is extremely disappointing that in the year 2026, this is not an accessible space.
Yeah, I strongly agree. I didn't mean to move faster. through
No,
this,
I just-
and I just feel like
I wanna-
we're not going to disagree, right?
No, I want to let people know, like,
Yep.
when we talk about the need for an accessible town hall, this is a prime example of it. All right, so all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Okay, so for everybody watching, until further notice, we're going to be meeting at the middle high school and not at town hall, because typically we meet at town hall the first of the month. And we're going to have to, we'll go back to it when we can. Okay. Next up is superintendent permission to discuss earmark funding with Representative Kuchmarek.
So I am asking you for your permission, as budget is your purview, to explore, and it's actually Representative Scarsdale, come to find out, to explore the possibility of changing the $195,000 earmark that we received, the very generous $195,000 earmark that we received to buy 2 passenger vans. I don't think that, and this is definitely my professional opinion, that is the best use of funds for our community right now. They would only allow us to transport a limited number of students, which would be fine for our smaller clubs and our smaller sports. But we would also have to pay a driver, pay to get the driver licensed, pay for registration, pay for gas, pay for insurance, and pay for repairs. And that would have to become a separate part of our annual budget. And I don't think we are in a position right now to add that into the budget. So what I'd like to do is explore taking those funds, rather than buying the passenger vans, to renovating the Turkey Hill student bathrooms so that there's one handicapped accessible stall in each bathroom.
So it's Representative Scarsdale, because I believe it was Senator Cronin that put in that earmark for us.
Yeah,
Can
we
you
would be
please
all-
explain the legislative process that we would have to go through for this?
Yeah, that would be my biggest question, is just that if it was already in the budget for this, are we just delaying, and is it going to have to go back to vote for the legislature?
We have a very narrow window right now where there's some supplemental funding coming down. It will have to go back in front of the legislature, but this is something that our delegation is willing to work on and track down for us. I just want to be able to explore it more fully with the school committee's knowledge.
Do we have an ADA bathroom plan ready to go so that we could execute this project or get the funds encumbered by June 30th?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
And we're only approving a discussion, right? We're
Yeah.
not actually
Yeah.
approving the funding.
I mean,
yet, so.
Yeah, I'm just concerned about saying no. I am 100% on board with getting ADA compliant bathrooms at Turkey Hill, so I don't want this to come off as that at all. I just know the legislative process. This is what I used to do for a job. So I am concerned that we're just basically using resources that the legislature's only going to do so much for us, right? So are we using like our one carrot to go back and say, we don't need this money, we want that, for that, and then we're not going to get anything else, right?
We do need the
I-
money. It's just
I
going to go to
think-
something different.
Right, but I mean, the
Yeah.
legislature could say, you got your, so they already gave us an earmark, right? So we go back and because they already approved this, this is already in law. They go back, we go back and say, oh, sorry, we messed up, we don't actually want it,
Well,
right?
it's more, we're desperate. This
So,
needs-
but can I just, this
yeah.
is my job, so I'm gonna explain it, right? Like, you go back to the legislature, not to be like, right, and you say, oh, by the way, you gave us that money before, but we don't want it for what you asked for it anymore because we weren't organized enough to figure out what we actually wanted it for. Can you change it, right? And then Rep. Scarsdale goes and asks the speaker for this one thing, and then we come back and then we say, okay, Rep. Scarsdale, can you go get us another earmark, because we need another earmark, and Rep. Scarsdale goes back to the leadership and they're like, you got something already. And you're like, but that was last year's, and they're like, well, you already got what you only get one crack at you only get one bite of the apple. So,
So it's not like you're switching one for the other?
no, because they're gonna have to put it in another budget. It's gonna have to be voted on by the legislature.
Yes.
The legislature has to take it up again, and it will say Lunenburg in it. So Lunenburg will have gotten something. We got something last year, we got something this year.
My fear, Mandy, honestly,
Yeah.
is our alternative to this, because I feel so strongly about this, is voting not to have the vans. We cannot sustain that in our budget. And I don't think it's fair to ask the community to do that and still pay for athletic transportation. So this is something that I have had an initial conversation with Rep. Scarsdale about this. This is something that we do think might have a good chance of passing, because I'm the new superintendent. And it won't be like, oh, the superintendent suddenly changed her mind. It's a fresh pair of eyes on the district.
I just think we're drastically overestimating how much the legislature cares about the details.
So
That is my brutal, honest
the
opinion.
earmark was written extremely narrowly.
Yep.
So that it could only be used to purchase transportation vans. But at the time, what the superintendent at the time was not aware of was the passenger limitations of those vans made it less useful for us for transporting larger groups. It would not even be enough to transport one class for a field trip, because we were hoping to utilize it in a variety of ways. So I think it's worth a conversation with
I don't-
Representative Scarsdale.
Yeah, it's just permission to discuss it. It doesn't mean we're doing it. So after the discussion, we could see
Because we also
where we're
don't
at.
know what next year is going to look like budget-wise when it comes to small sports teams or our ability to continue operating the way we're operating.
That's correct.
I mean, I guess if I may vote against, I just don't think this is the way to be a good advocate for our town. It's not that I don't want the money, it's just that this makes us look like, I'm trying to collect my thoughts about what I want to say. I just don't know that it's worthwhile for us. Do we want Rep. Scarsdale spending her time currying favor about this $190,000, or do we want Rep. Scarsdale spending her time trying to get the Chapter 70 formula redone for us?
Chapter 70 formula is not going to be done for a very long time. An ADA bathroom is needed now. I understand your reservations, and I do agree to some extent, but I think this is something we can do now, and I think that we're just giving her permission to discuss it, and if Representative Scarsdale says, no, this is going to cost too much political capital. for
She's never going to say
gain."
that, because her job is to represent Lunenburg.
I would like it if you could talk to Senator Cronin, too, because this was his
Yeah, I
earmark.
don't, I do think Senator Cronin absolutely needs to be involved.
This was his earmark. He got this for us.
Yeah.
So shout out to him. That was a
Yeah.
good earmark. It was just, the situation has changed, the administration has changed, and our needs have changed. I mean, the ADA needs have always been there. But we don't know what next year's going to look like, but I will know, I know that unless we pursue something like this, we're not going to just have an ADA bathroom. So I'd like to give her permission to discuss it. Will it come back to us for a vote?
It will. It'll probably be a very quick turnaround time because of this small window we have with the supplemental funding bill.
Yeah, it won't, the SUP's just going to appear, and then they'll vote on it. So if she wants to try to get in the SUP, I guess it'll just have to,
Can we, okay.
I mean, it's just not
For
something.
more money in the supplemental bill?
Well, so this is the thing, they don't really do earmarks in supplemental budgets.
Okay,
So
so this would just be a quick change of wording? Okay.
I mean, I'm assuming that's what she said to you, right? Did
Yes.
she reach out to you?
No, I reached out to her because I wanted to even just see if this was something that was possible to be done before I brought it up to you guys to explore further.
Okay, so can I get, or is there further, Emily, did you have? No. Okay. Can I get a motion? Mandy's not going to motion.
I'll make a motion to give permission to discuss the earmark fund.
Okay, I will
With
second.
Representative Scarsdale.
I will, and Senator Cronin. I will second that. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm just
Opposed?
going to abstain.
Okay,
I
abstain.
just want to make a comment that my professional career was working in the state legislature, and I don't think this is the way to go about it. So I think we're going to be biting ourselves in the butt for the future, but that's fine.
Okay. Motion passes with one abstention. Okay, thank you. Okay, under discussion, the FY '27 budget Q&A.
I believe Chris is there for you, and this is an opportunity for for him to give you some updates and for you to ask questions about FY '27.
A lot of public speaking for you today.
Thank you.
Just making you do this.
Good evening. So a level service budget currently stands at approximately 28.2 million. With the additions that we mentioned at the tri-board meeting, that would add on approximately $980,000.
So you said 28.2 million is the level services.
Right now, yes.
Yes, and what percentage health insurance does it include,
So health insurance with a 14.4% increase
Okay.
is going to run us about 4.4 million.
Okay, but the increase that's included in that 28.2 is the 14.4 increase?
Correct.
Okay,
Okay, so that's the adjusted.
so that's the number we haven't finalized yet, and Jen
Yeah.
has, the town manager has.
Yeah, so we're still waiting to finalize that number.
Yep, understandable. And then you said the additions that we've discussed with the tri-board and the additions that were presented to us a while ago now
Yep.
would be what?
It was a little under $1 million. It was $979,000. And that includes all the positions we mentioned,
Yep.
including if every single individual took the highest level insurance plan, family plan possible.
Okay. And then can you remind us what this year's budget is?
This year's budget is, with the extra $500,000 that we got from the town.
Yep.
It's $26.2 million.
Okay. So we're looking at a $2 million increase over FY FY26.
It's a little less than 2 million, yes.
Little bit less than 2 million over FY26 to offer level services,
Correct.
including the health insurance increase.
Yep.
But that doesn't include any additional funds that may be available from the town.
No.
But this Chapter 70 number didn't go up that much, so that's.
No, it did not.
It went up about, I was a little under 200,000, I think it might have been.
It's not that much.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't that much.
So, okay, so it's like 2.8 with those extra positions,
The rebuilds,
the rebuilds,
What was
because
it
you said
calling it?
979 plus, so you said it's almost 2, so maybe
Above the
2.9
FY26 budget, it would be about 2.8, $2.9 million.
off of the
Above the
FY26
FY26
budget with the restoration positions.
Correct.
Is that what we're?
That's the word.
Yeah, I was trying to use the right word.
Restoration.
That's about 2.9 million. Okay.
Okay, has that, Dr. Fortuna, has anything changed in that budget? I know the health insurance number, but have there been any changes to the shape of the budget as far as staffing or needs?
Not at this time. It's really still a level service budget.
Okay, so this is the level service, not the level service, not the restoration budget?
So the level services is a $2 million increase over FY26.
Okay.
The additional services is an additional 979,000. So Chris says it's about 2.9 million.
Correct.
Over FY26. Now, I think it's important for the public to realize every budget is a plus and a minus, right? Every budget, you build what you want to spend, but you also have how much you have, right? So just because it's 2.9 million over FY26, we have not been given, my understanding is we have not been given a final number from the town yet on what
No,
number
that won't
we need to
happen.
build to. Well, that used to happen, so I think.
Well, it won't happen until after the finance committee makes their recommendation.
So this is something I think is not true. So the last few years, we have had a town manager's budget in the middle of January.
The issue this year, Mandy, is the transition at Town Hall. And
Yep.
the town manager is very open with the fact that in closing out FY25, there's been issues, and
Yep.
she's not prepared without not having a finance director for an extended period of time. She's not prepared to offer that budget at this time.
And I'm totally, thank you so much, Dr. Fortuna, and I'm fine with that. I just think when we talk about this, we need to make sure that we are putting the full picture together for the public, because it looks different than it has the last few years, right? The last few years, we've been able to say at this point, right, the town manager's budget is requiring us to cut 15 FTEs or whatever, right? So I don't want to say that. I don't want us to cut any FTEs. I don't want to do anything, but I think, there are starting to be some questions out there in the public about is the school budget really that bad? No one really, nobody's really talking about it. And part of it is because we don't have a town manager's number, right? We don't have a number that we're building towards. And that's part of what the tri-board is kind of talking towards.
Yeah, there's also the process on the town side of looking at their cuts with the available funds
Yep.
they're expecting. So I think that's going to be a longer process.
Yep, and I agreed with you. I thought it was really good what you said at tri-board the other day about how we are 1 year ahead of the cuts that they are looking at.
Yes,
We have already gone through a process of downsizing where the town the town manager has been very clear this time around that we need to look at a combination of everything for every department. Is that a good way to say it?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
And that we've already gone through that process, not that we should not examine our budget very closely
Exactly,
and
yes.
figure out where we can save, but that we have already gone through that process
Right.
before.
I've met with the principals this morning because, as you know, my mantra through this whole process is we cannot afford to lose a single position in our schools. I met with the principals this morning and asked them to carefully examine their budget to see if there's any space left in their general supplies and in their operational budgets to be able to reduce further. So we should be able to have a good faith estimate of that when we have, whenever we have our next tri-board meeting.
Okay.
So yeah, so you expect, Chris and Dr. Fortuna, that we will eventually get a town manager number from her when she I saw that she has a new finance person, which I feel very happy for her, because I am sure that that is a very unfun way to live. And because that's really what we're gonna have to, at some point, decide where we're gonna go. Do you guys, we talked a little bit about this at the last meeting, but you weren't here, sort of our approach to tri-board, like, you know, are we asking for that whole 2.9? I think we should, but I just want, you know,
I think we should too.
yeah,
because
but we wanted to make sure, and I
the test scores bear out the results of what's happening, and I know that sometimes I get frustrated because I feel like we rely on the metrics a
Yeah.
lot, because it is hard to, you know, quantify children. But the test scores are showing that what we're doing is not working for the kids of this town. And I understand, yeah, I do. I think that we have to restore the positions that were lost, because at this point, those positions, we've tested out what things are like without it, and we've seen that it's not working, and we are asking the teachers to do so much,
Yep.
and our staff to do so much. And they've risen to the challenge, but we can't keep doing this.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
And now we've seen the results of what happens with that. Well, we haven't seen this year, but we need to add the restoration positions back in. No, yeah.
Okay. No, I think that's what we had, the three of us had talked about, but I wanted to make sure you obviously.
Because I'm trying to be fiscally responsible and
Right.
not ask for the moon, because if we could ask for 10 million and we would find a way to spend it on the kids, but I think the cuts, what we're trying to add back in is absolutely necessary, and we've seen how that plays out.
Yep.
So, yeah, I think the 2.9.
Okay.
Okay. Was this a Q&A for the public as well, Dr. Fortuna, or was this just us asking Chris questions?
The public could also ask Chris some questions as well.
Okay. Any questions from the public in this room? Any online on Zoom, Liz?
I'm not seeing any right now.
Okay. All right. Emily, did you have any more questions about the budget? Mandy? Okay. Well, thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Very much appreciate this, and again, very much appreciate you. Okay. Discussion, coordinated family and community parent-child grant programs. There is a proposed change to the way we are doing those programs. So is there someone, Dr. Fortuna,
That's me.
do you want to talk about that, or is that a?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nope, this is me. So there's a memo in your packets tonight that I'm just going to read for the public. So my recommendation is, after a comprehensive review by the administration and the finance department, I recommend that the Lunenburg Public Schools do not pursue the renewal of the Coordinated Family and Community Engagement and Parent-Child Plus grants for the 2026-2027 school year. The district has served as the fiscal agents for these grants since 1997. Originally under the Children's Trust Fund in DESE, these grants are currently funded by the Department of Early Education and Care. The programs are designed to support families with children from birth to age 6 through playgroups, library, collaborations, and home visits. Our current FY26 award totals for the Coordinated Family and Community Engagement at CFCE program is $45,700. For the Parent-Child Plus program, it's $27,037 for a total award of $72,737. My rationale for making this recommendation is while the mission of these programs remains incredibly valuable, the administration has denied three primary factors driving the recommendation to discontinue our role as the lead fiscal agent. The administrative overhead required to manage these grants is disproportionate to the funding level. The grant requires complex financial compliance and distinct accounting lines that strain central office resources. The current structure requires a project coordinator for 20 hours for grant writing and data reporting, a playgroup coordinator for 10 to 12 hours, and a literacy specialist for 16 hours. Hiring for and managing these part-time positions and the associated state reporting requirements is becoming increasingly difficult. Patty McCarthy-Gillette, who is currently our coordinator for both these grants, is retiring at the end of this year. Waning enrollment. We have observed a decline in consistent engagement in the grant-specific cohorts. And the Intensive Parent-Child Plus Home Visiting Program currently serves only 8 families, 9 children. The administrative lift required to maintain the program structure is no longer proportional to the number of families utilizing the service. Discontinuing our role as a fiscal agent does not mean that these services will disappear for Lunenburg residents. We have confirmed that Air Shirley Regional School District or another nearby district will likely apply for the CFCE grant to cover our service area. Our PCP Plus program already operates under the umbrella of Air Shirley due to our site size. Formally transitioning the service provider role is a natural step that ensures families retain access to these resources. It is important to clarify that this decision is specific to state-funded community grants. This decision does not affect the Lunenburg Early Learning Center or our district-run before and after school programs. These internal programs will continue to operate without interruption. To allow the district to streamline operations and focus financial and administrative resources on our internal student population, I recommend that the school committee vote to decline to apply for the FY27 CFCE and Parent-Child Plus grants, allowing for a transition to a regional partner.
So, yeah, Patty was kind of the heart of this program.
Yes.
And her force of energy really ran through a lot of this. I do want to say, as a parent who utilized the playgroup, especially when my oldest was a baby and I was a new mom who didn't know anyone in town with kids my age, that's like where we made our first friends. And it was really important. However, it's during the day. It was really, I have 3 kids, and by the time the third one was there, you could even see there was a lot less people attending. But it does make me a little sad that this is ending. And I know that we had I had talked to you about talking to the library director about continuing something at the library or seeing if the library would resume some sort of playgroup or way for parents to connect with each other. Did you speak with the librarian?
I haven't had a chance to follow through, but I will. I'm sure that is something he would be very interested in.
Okay, because I think that was an important community need. Maybe it was just me, when you're a new mom or you have like young kids connecting with other parents. I think that was a really.
We do have a lot of programs at the
They do.
library.
Oh,
Story time, toddler time, yoga,
It just keeps
there's
expanding.
a lot
too.
of programs for many ages.
And I think I think this is one place where the library can serve really well. Plus, it's just great to get kids in a room with books. So I am sad that its current iteration is going away, but with Patty's retirement, it would look different anyways, because she was a big driver of that. Questions? So this is under discussion. We don't need to vote on this? This would just be
No.
your decision not to pursue a grant in the future?
Correct.
Okay, and have we spoken to Ayer Shirley about taking over the fiscal responsibility for the grant? Do they intend to apply for it, or are they probably would.
So Air Shirley most likely will, but there may also be other neighboring communities, and it is a competitive grant. So it's all dependent on who writes the better application.
Okay. All right. And so no vote is needed and no more questions? All right.
So the ELC is not part of this?
No.
So it confuses me why we have a preschool and an ELC. Is that something that, you don't have to explain it to me right now, but,
No, we should explain it because it's time to sign up for preschool.
right? I mean, honestly, I always thought the ELC was part of this program.
No, it's separate. Juliana, can you
Look at everyone
about
shaking their
preschool?
heads like I've asked a question that is
No, it's funny because
complicated.
I had a conversation with Dr. Fortuna today where I said the way that we do preschool is a little bit confusing and sometimes parents have a hard time figuring out what the preschool offerings from the town
Yeah.
are, and I think we need
I
to.
mean, I don't have any preschool age kids, but I have no idea why we have two programs.
So I just thought it was funny you brought it up.
I actually, Dr. Fortuna, I'd prefer to defer that to Patty to come in and answer at another time because I think she'd give a much better explanation of it. I know that it's been great for parents to access when they need a longer program per se, or they might need an afternoon in addition to what we offer in the schools, but I'm not as current with all of it as Patty would be to be able to
So I
answer.
guess
So I
my
don't want to give
question-
any misinformation.
Mrs. Squire is there.
Well, I guess
So
my
Mrs.
question.
Squire can speak
Yeah,
to
and
it.
I guess part of it's just who pays for it then.
The ELC is self-funding through the tuition.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the preschool program, we have to offer for students with and without disabilities. It's an inclusion program.
Yeah.
ELC is a little different, and I really can't speak too much to ELC, but what we offer, and for hours, it's a 2.5-hour program. ELC can offer different, I know they have different days. I know Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is different than Monday through Friday.
Where is ELC located?
ELC is located on the first floor of our building. So
Okay.
when you come in, it used to be our MTSS room, so it's all the way down to the right. It's a nice corner area. It's in our kindergarten wing.
And our preschool is also in,
Our preschool is at the other, it's in the same, like the kindergarten wing's there, but the
Yep.
preschool's closer to the doors where we exit. We share that loop.
do they share staff?
They do not share staff.
So-
Completely different. ELC is self-sustaining from what I'm gathering, but Patty will have to talk more about that. I don't really.
It's fine, I just,
But ours is, so our
Oh,
preschool is
Liz, you want to?
curriculum.
we could talk about this at the next meeting
Yep.
if you want, or
It's
you.
curriculum-based, but we do 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
We do 4 mornings.
It just
and
feels
then
like
5
people are always
afternoons.
confused,
And
and
you
it
do
feels
the-
like,
But we don't do a
Right.
full-day program at the preschool.
why not?
It's
It's limited funding, and if you did a full-day program, you're limiting the number of choices that you have for parents to come, which limits the amount of tuition that comes in.
And we can
So
serve more
in
students.
our preschool program, there are, for DESI regulations, because we're under DESI, we have 8 slots for IEP students, 7 slots for IEP students, 8 slots for tuition students
total?
for every session.
Okay.
And so it depends, because there's offerings, you can come, we just talked about this at the last one, we
Yeah.
have 3 days, 2 days, 4 mornings, 5 afternoons.
So parents can say, I'm a parent.
You
and
fill out a lottery
I
form.
want to get my kid in preschool. I don't know which preschool. Can I sign up for both? Can I sign up for the ELC and the
So ours is lottery-based,
Yep.
so you're not necessarily guaranteed to get into ours.
You have to
But-
apply for the lottery. When is
You-
the deadline
so
for that?
But you said you
choice.
haven't been full.
We have not been full, although this year, we are getting there.
Okay, so, but it has been an issue that we haven't been full.
It has been an issue.
Okay,
I think some of it has to do with the hours.
Hours.
Like,
Yes.
well, yeah.
Nobody can do that as a working parent.
my child did it and
Right,
We drop
8:30
them
to
off and
11,
then 2.5
or
hours later, you gotta-
12:10 to 2:40.
Yeah, that only works for people that don't have a full-time job.
yep.
Right, I mean,
It's
obviously,
very
yeah.
limiting.
And
Because
I
I
will
work in
say
that
there are some students, in the past, can't speak to this year because I haven't really looked at the numbers that may attend both preschool and ELC, but I'm not 100% with that.
When is the deadline?
So we just posted our preschool lottery goes mid-February to the end of March, and then we do our lottery. We let parents know they have a certain day that they have to put their deposit down and register their child. If they don't, then they lose their spot and it goes to the next person.
Okay. Liz?
So I wanted to talk about the ELC program and why that started.
Yes.
So basically what happened was when we had our preschool, like you've been talking about, that was very, very limiting for some parents and the flexibility of it. And that's exactly why our ELC program started. Because back then, there were some people, Tammy Perry for one, who had worked in the preschool program, and she knew the curriculum. And so what ended up happening was she ended up being the person that ran ELC and extended day for many years. And so ELC, what ended up happening was they followed the preschool curriculum, but the big difference between ELC and the preschool, there's no certified teacher in ELC, is what the difference is. They follow curriculum of preschool, but there's no certified teacher.
And it's
So that's the main difference.
It's funded via tuition.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, it can't be
Right.
funded.
And
through
our,
the state if-
our preschool, you pay, if you are on an IEP, or you don't pay.
If you're on an IEP, you do not pay. It is free because we're providing services that are required by the Department of Ed. And we do have certified teachers, but those certified teachers are coming out of our local budget. So
Okay.
it's a line item within our budget.
So because that's a service that it's also the right thing. It's a service we're required to provide.
Exactly.
To students in this town.
Yep, once they turn
If-
2.9, they come in and we start evaluating if they're on what's called an IFSP, which is for early intervention, and then they come in and we would evaluate, determine eligibility, and
Okay. And
to our
it's
preschool.
kind of a continuation of birth to 3, where if a child has special needs between the ages of birth
Yeah,
to
like
3.
you can get early intervention
They
up
get,
until 2.
they get an early intervention, but then when they become 2.9,
You age out at.
You age out.
you
at
age
3.
out, and it becomes the school's responsibility, but we do get grant money. Do we?
Hi, could I just make a quick clarification?
Yes, please.
So just to tack on to what Carla said, it's not I just want to clarify it because I don't want people to say, oh, my child's on an IEP and I get free preschool.
Oh, yeah.
There are some students who are in our preschool who may only get speech services or OT services or PT services. They would be able to, but they are paying for for their preschool slot because they are participating as a gen ed student during that time. And then we would provide that special ed service outside of the paid preschool slot time.
Oh, okay, that's really, I like that cooperation, so that students can receive their services at the school.
Right, because every student that has an IEP may not have that level of services where we recommend a preschool program for them. And so we want to be able to have both offerings for parents, so.
Thank you.
Just to clarify that.
That was an important clarification. Thank you, Juliana.
Liz, do you know the enrollment for the ELC? Is it much more than the preschool?
It is not. No, they
Similar?
try to keep it at a no more than a certain number for
Yeah.
obvious reasons. Yeah, absolutely.
Do you know when the deadline for ELC is
For registration?
for registration?
Usually around April 1st.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right, I just,
but it's rolling admission.
okay. It's,
So-
yeah, it's a little bit difficult for parents to figure it out, because it's a little,
Yeah.
not, because it makes perfect sense to you guys, but it's a little bit like, okay, there's a preschool within the school, and then there's the school preschool, and it gets a little confusing.
And now you're both in the same building.
So I thought that was
Which is
funny.
also confusing.
That is even more confusing,
Yeah.
because now it is in the same building.
Yes.
So I know we have millions of things on our list, But I do think, and with Patty retiring, which Patty's done a fantastic job over the years for all this stuff.
I'm gonna miss her.
I know, we have a lot going on for the next year's budget, but I would be interested in, like, over the next few years to be thinking about some of this stuff maybe in a more holistic way, even if we still have 2 programs, right? But it seems like very confusing for parents, not, like, do you know what I mean? Like, even,
yeah, no.
even better advertising or better, better discussion of what costs what where, because, without everything in our budget,
It's a little difficult to
It's a little
figure
bit
out the
difficult to parse
information.
out.
And I know I was concerned last year when we didn't have enough peer, what do we call them? The
Right,
peer
exactly.
modelers, the peer model students,
Right, we
and we
want
need
enough
those too. So,
If the ELC is tuition-based only, is that even in our budget line? Would it be even part of our budget?
no, but they're using the space
Yeah.
Turkey at the primary school, which is not a problem, but that is the reality. They're using space at the primary school.
Yeah.
So,
I'm just saying it's not going to skew our budget numbers.
right, but I guess what I'm saying is a little bit like what you're saying, right? If we don't have enough peers, right, in our preschool program, are we taking kids who could be peers in the preschool program and putting them into ELC when maybe we could be solving one problem with both? And I don't know enough details about all of this, but
I don't think so. I
There's a-
think the limitations to the preschool
Yeah.
are the hours.
Yes.
Because we are 2.5.
But and you have to
you're
have certified
expanding.
teachers,
But you're
so-
expanding your hours.
they're
We
expanding
are
their
not
offering.
expanding our hours, we are expanding the number of we're still the same hours, but we are offering 4 mornings. You could have an option of you're a parent, would you like your child to come 4 days? Would you like them to come 2 days?
And what
And
sets the 2.5 hours?
That is our preschool hours.
Right, but what sets that? Is it a state standard? Is it just what we've decided?
I believe that is what we have decided
Right,
as a
so that-
district.
It works with the-
But you have to look at, so there's,
As far as drop off and pick up and lunch.
well, no, so if you offer lunch, there's different. So we
I meant
don't
lunch for the
offer lunch.
staff, so that they're
Yes.
not.
We have contractual obligations that we have to fulfill because they are under the teacher's contract. We have paraprofessionals that have the paraprofessional contract. So we are obligated to meet the criteria and make sure staff are getting what is owed to them through their negotiated contracts. So I think that's important. We have the certified teachers. It also looks at the revenue that we bring into the town. While it doesn't come directly to us, it goes to the town, and I could get you those numbers. I want to say last year it was around 70-something that we brought in.
That's great, yeah.
This year we're projected, it's in the 90s because we have more students. But by offering more choices versus just these are our standard choices. So we're looking at evolving our preschool program. It's going to take time, but we also have some budget constraints too. Would I love to offer a full-day preschool? Yes. However, that limits the revenue we bring in. It also limits the number of choices that we have and the contractual obligations. So we're really trying to look at the different components and how can we be financially responsible as a district, but still meet student needs.
Juliana, do we see more and Mrs. Squire, do we see more students coming in needing the special services preschool?
I think that's
Absolutely. And the needs have gotten a lot more severe.
Okay, so yeah, we need those slots open.
Yeah, we're also finding that, we're looking at, although I would love to be able to offer full-day preschool as well. I think any educator that has worked with early childhood realizes the benefit of having those options. We have to be realistic about what we can provide, and with the amount of students that we have, sometimes we can only offer 2 days a week because those students may not be as needy per se as a child who might need it 4 days a week. So although I would like to offer every student who we think needs a preschool program that 4 days a week, we've got that option for some 2 days, some 3 days as well. It's nice to have those options.
The 3 day is
until we
new,
can get to a
correct?
point where we can offer everything to everyone.
Okay. All right. Any more questions about this or the Community and Parent-Child Grant Program? Okay, I think our general consensus is we're sad it's ending, but we're going to do what we need to do. Okay. And further discussion, override format and amount. Was that what we just spoke about, the 2.9, because I wasn't here last week?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what we talked about, right? Was there anything else, Dr. Fortuna, you wanted us to? It sounds like the tri-board's not meeting next week, so.
So I did want to talk about whether or not in an override budget, a restoration budget, I wanted to put out there that I believe that we should put more people in the finance office. We talked about this at the budget forum this afternoon, Tony and I discussed it, that we need a little bit of, what's the word, two people? What? Yeah, and resiliency, because Chris is doing everything right now, which I appreciate, but it is good to have some overlap. It's good to have people cross-trained, which has been an ongoing issue since I joined school committee, where we have trouble cross-training people because that requires time, and nobody at central office really has time to get cross-trained. Like Liz does not have time to stop and teach people how to do things, do what she does when she's busy doing it all day long. Was there anything else about the override form? What about override format? Do you mean the tiers?
I think we were trying to
I think we were
decide,
just talking
yeah,
about tiers
which
and stuff
options
last
we
time.
wanted, like we talked about at tri-board.
Yeah,
Okay, what did you?
We didn't, because then we went to tri-board and we had that conversation, so we haven't really resolved
Yeah,
that yet.
I mean, I think Tony, I don't want to speak for him, but I think he was pretty clear that he thought we should just ask for one number, that he thought asking for more than one number was confusing.
I wholeheartedly agree.
So I do think the thing we as a group have to be prepared for with the one number is, you know, what the select board wants to decide, and are they going to include those services that we think are essential, right? Or, and then if the select board comes, I mean, I'm hopeful that the select board members will see those restoration services as essential, but, you know, I do think we
Yeah.
have to be prepared for that conversation.
I
I'm not sure
think-
we can do that today, but I mean, that is a conversation they may want to have with us.
So a tiered override has, there are reasons you might want to do it, but I think it would become, first of all, it's confusing to people. And there's a history of sometimes people will just vote for the lowest amount, or they'll vote for the second lowest amount, but not the lowest amount, so that.
At the tri-board, it seemed like many people were on board with a
Just
larger
with-
number
with just
And I think us
that was
firmly
going to
saying,
cover everybody.
this is what we need, because more than one number makes it look like we're saying, well, we could get away with less. Whereas,
Yeah.
I'm pretty firmly feeling we can't get away with less.
Yeah.
And I would hate to give that impression.
Yep.
Was there anything else about that, Dr. Fortuna?
Nope, you covered it all.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, no, I think that's good. I feel like we've,
Any more on the override, or?
more to come.
More to come.
Yeah, I mean,
Could you, Dr. Fortuna, just tell us, you had said, you had emailed this that said that we are not having a tri-board meeting next week because there's some more preparation. Could you just explain what preparation? Is it the department heads that Jen is asking to do something? I'm just curious.
Yeah, what we're going to do is the chair of each board,
Okay.
Jen and I, are going to meet to set a firm direction for tri-board to actually get to the decision-making
Yep,
for this.
sounds like a great plan.
okay. Old business, action item, facilities and grounds report. Do we have, you just want us to review it? Did you guys get a chance to review that?
I did look at it.
Yes. I think I can answer any questions that you have on it. If I can't, Chris McNamara probably can as well.
So it says we've collected pricing to enable us to move forward. I don't think this money has been allocated to us yet.
It has not. In fact, the playground study is not one of the capital planning commission's recommended items that's going to go forth.
What?
thought they were.
Out of the recommended items that they're putting forth, the playground study is not going forward. It's just the driveway study.
I thought it was at the top of their,
Yeah.
I thought it was close to the top.
The list that they reviewed changed slightly, and I was informed last week by the town manager that of the top projects, and the playground was not one of them.
So what is on the list for the schools?
Turf and
The
driveway.
schools of the driveway at the parking study at primary.
Well, at
That's
least-
it, because the turf has to be separate. That's a,
Correct.
All right.
So just the driveway.
At least it's the right order, but the primary playground study was supposed to be done last year. So this is, okay.
that's upsetting.
Yeah. We delayed it last
It is.
year to go after the Green Communities grant so that other town departments could then pursue a Green Communities grant.
And if we're allocating like $2 million and the schools are getting 50,000 of it, that seems like pretty unfair.
All right, well,
Do we
Peter,
want to
if
see
you're
if
watching
Mr.
it.
Beardmore can come to one of these meetings?
yeah, I'll, 20, yeah, we're going to
Because
have to talk to Peter.
that's very frustrating.
I will forward you the email too.
Yeah, it's not even the
because I
actual
didn't share it with
driveway,
you.
it's just a
Yeah,
study.
it's the study. So I am glad that the driveway is on their priority list.
The study.
But
Correct.
just the
Well, yes,
study.
the
We have
study.
to get it funded
But-
afterwards. Right.
Yes, so there,
Right, that was what we had talked about. They go together. You can't really do one without the other.
at least, yeah, so it would put the driveway behind too, because if we have to move the playground, but at least the driveway's first and not the playground, because that would be very irritating.
But we had a whole discussion about what if we need to take space from other parts of
Yeah, it's,
the grounds, like, I don't,
Dr. Fortuna, you will send us that list?
yeah, we're gonna,
That's frustrating.
okay, and so there, it says through an infrastructure grant, we're purchasing a salt sander. Was that a grant that the school committee voted on?
Oh, your sound
Your
is-
audio's off. Can you, sorry, nope, audio. It's still off. Nope, still can't hear you. I'm normally really bad at lip reading and
Okay, how are we now?
much better, thank you.
Excellent. So that was through one of our earmark grants where 50% of it had to be spent on school infrastructure things. And we really needed a new sander because the other one was rusted and not working.
Okay. So we had talked, this is slightly germane, we had talked at the budget forum, a community member suggested some sort of grant tracking. I think it might, I would like it if we could create some sort of internal grant tracking document, because most grants are, a lot of them are ongoing projects where we could track grants applied for and the status of those grants and what we're using it on. Is that something that would be easy to do? I don't want to pile work on you, but if we could better track grants coming into us. Okay. Oh, and I thought it was interesting, the part about the Univent coils for the classroom heaters.
Yeah, that was actually a very creative solution. And luckily we have Tim on the maintenance team who came up with it. And we actually had to implement it for one heating unit at Turkey Hill, which wasn't working. Thankfully, it was before these very, very cold snaps that we're having right now. But it's something that Chris and his team had priced out, as you can see there. And it's really advantageous for us to proceed in this manner.
Okay, so for the public who doesn't have this in front of them, the Univent coils, I don't know what that is, for the classroom heaters at Turkey Hill, which is a very old building, are reaching their end of life and are over 50 years old. and the 50-year-old units cost between $30,000 and $50,000 a unit to replace, and there's a unit in each classroom.
There's a unit in each classroom.
That's a lot of classrooms. And so one of our maintenance people came up with a solution of fabricating new Univent coils for about $900 a coil. So we're going to save quite a bit of money that way by, is that accurate?
That's correct.
Okay, so I just wanted to draw attention to that because I thought that was a very creative way to solve that problem without it costing taxpayers a lot of money. And then we had some new hires. Are we fully staffed on
We are
custodian?
not. We have that one open position, part-time at the high school.
Okay, so just one part-time evening one?
Correct.
Okay, so we're doing pretty good. This is good.
We are doing very well.
Okay, I noticed the schools are looking really good this year.
Yes.
So thank you.
And I'm getting rave compliments from our staff about our custodial staff.
So thank you for that. And thank you to Chris for keeping that, us mostly staffed, which is a real improvement over last year. So, and yeah, the school's looking really good lately. Okay, so that is an action item. Or were there any questions? Did you guys have any questions or just comments?
I have lots of comments.
Okay, can I get a motion to accept the facilities and grounds report?
I'll make a motion to accept the facilities and grounds report.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Sorry.
Okay, motion, opposed, motion passes. Okay, next up is a discussion on update on school improvement plans. So I think that's our principals. Is that our principals?
Woohoo,
It
thank
is
you
our
all for sitting here.
principals. And this is, we're actually doing this update kind of off cycle from the general updates that the school committee gets because of a community request. So, especially relating to primary school. So Mrs. Squire is going to have the majority of the presentation for you tonight. But I'm very happy that all of our principals are there and appreciative of them for giving their time tonight.
Okay, Mrs. Squire?
So I'm going to go over this, and I'm going to try and be as brief as possible because Dr. Sarfty went over much of this.
Yep.
You have a copy in your folder. It's online, so anybody can look online and see it. So I'm going to hit some of the highlights from Dr. Sarfty. So in your packet, you do have my beginning of the year and middle of the year data for literacy. What you're missing, because I couldn't get it into the packet, is the math, but I will get that to you. Dr. Sarfty got it to me at the end of the day yesterday, so I will get that to you as well, so you'll have that. And one of the comments from a previous school committee was to update my school improvement plan to include this. So after tonight's presentation, I will update my school improvement plan, send it off to Dr. Fortuna, and once it's approved, it can then get posted, so it'll replace the school improvement plan that's on there with beginning of the year and middle of the year data. So some of the highlights from this, for our DIBELs, we have kindergarten demonstrating strong positive movement from the beginning of the year. The percentile of students in the highest risk category decreased from 39% to 30%, while the percentage of meeting benchmark increased from 18 to 33%, consisted with gains from systematic early literacy instruction. Grade 1 showed an increase in the percentage of meeting benchmark from 34 to 39. Mid-year benchmarks reflect an increase in rigor, particularly in the decoding, accuracy, and automaticity. So these results are being used to refine our instructional groupings and prioritizing the grade 1 students for targeted support. Grade 2 resulted in larger groupings and stable from beginning of the year to middle of the year. I think it's important to know that the benchmark testing, it moves. So what you did at the beginning of the year, it moves to your middle of the year, the expectation is greater. So we typically see for second grade that stabilization in literacy skills, so I think that that's really great to have that, because the demands are increasing and the instruction emphasizes accuracy, fluency, and comprehension of more complex text. So these mid-year results are guiding targeted instructional adjustments for students who remain below benchmark. So some of the highlights of things that you did not get to hear from Dr. Sarfty is, we talked about the high dosage literacy instruction and how we're able to meet the needs of more students than just those that are being serviced through MTSS. In addition to the high dosage, we also have the Hill for Literacy. We received that, so there were 4 of us over the summer that spent 4 days, either in Foxborough at Devens for a very intensive training. We were able to secure coaching and implementation training that the Hill will be bringing in. One of the things that, as we bring trainings in, we want to use it with the curriculum that we have. So we'll focus on the HMH curriculum, but the interactive read alouds, which is a key component to our literacy instruction.
What are interactive read alouds?
The read alouds that you're interacting with the students, so
Okay.
you're asking questions, they're comprehending, you could have in kindergarten, it could be like a sight word that you're focusing on, that they're going to read aloud stories back and forth.
Is that done in small groups or large groups?
It can be
or
done
whatever?
in both. It can be done in both, again, depending on what the targeted skill is that you're trying to hit through that interactive read aloud. And then you can circle back through when you do your intervention. So if there's students that you're working on a particularly targeted skill, you can circle back and hit that during your intervention time. So Hill for Literacy will be coming to us. They're starting in February. We have 5 days, but it's spread throughout the year, so it's going to be February to June. There's implementation components to that. So implementation, all grade level teachers are going to be going to the implementation, and then there is directed coaching. So we looked for volunteers of teachers that wanted to do that coaching cycle. It is great because they're getting some one-on-one, they're going in and observing and they're giving feedback, and it is not part of the evaluation process, it's more of a learning tool. So I will not be joining them for that coaching session. Dr. Sarfty may join them because she won't be their evaluator. So we're still working out the details, but we want educators to be open and really problem solve.
How many educators?
So we can have up to 8 educators, and we did it on a volunteer basis.
Okay.
Because we have a lot going on in addition to our training with the HMH. So we just got the version 3, which folds in that structured literacy. So there's a lot going on, so we did it on a volunteer basis.
Did we get 8 volunteers?
We got enough volunteers. We did not get 8. That's kind of lofty. So, but we do have representation.
And the Hill for Literacy, was this a grant or this falls under?
So
professional
it's
development?
through the Department of Ed. DESE put it on over the summer. It was, we applied, myself and 3 other educators from our building were accepted into it. We just tried to get a couple of educators. They just opened it up again, but they're on wait list. So they will be offering again over the summer. We haven't found out. I'm part of an early literacy cohort with the Department of Ed. So as soon as they let us know that they're going to offer it, I can tell people to watch out for this and get it in ASAP.
And you thought it was worthwhile? and
It was
very
definitely
useful?
worthwhile. There was a variety of different, it was for somebody that's a novice, somebody that has been working in literacy for a while. They had the administrative aspect. It was an intensive 4 days, but it was well worth it.
Oh, wonderful.
And it's an area that we need some growth in. So our other instructional supports, so we have our PLCs. We've done our data dives. So I know I did this ahead of our data dive, but we did, primary school did ours yesterday.
What are PLCs?
Professional learning communities. So our professional learning communities really work on how do we focus the instruction and tailor it to the variety of needs. We're constantly looking at our data and reforming our groups. The data dive was with classroom teachers, our instructional specialist, who is part of our MTSS system. And they went through and we looked at all of the students well below, and formed groups. It also helped us inform our groups for the tutoring as well. So that was great. We do have some students that will be coming off of support, but others that will be going on, and some that have stayed. So there's that fluctuation in groups, which means that we were able to, for a small number, close the gap, and they are in the green, so they either moved from yellow to green, or if we're letting them go, they have the skills that they need.
I think on this data, looking at the grade K, the movement in students after learning, I think looking at the movement from, the high needs to the exceeding expectations compared to grade 2 really shows how much the very early interventions are necessary, and how the longer these students go without the interventions they need, it really sets into play their future learning, because those K numbers are good.
The K numbers are good. I think the one thing we have to remember with kindergarten is kids come in with all different levels. So this year we had 50% of our students coming in without preschool experience.
What?
This was the COVID.
Oh,
So there was a lot of, with things shut down and fear, so a lot of our students, and if I'm predicting, we're gonna have the same group.
that's a lot.
It is a lot.
50% without any no preschool, like
No
no.
preschool. Some of them have never left their parents. They've never done a play group.
Oh,
When you think about it, the world shut down.
Yeah.
You have little babies.
it must have been
It is
very
scary,
difficult to parent
but, so I'm.
a newborn
I'm
during that.
I'm pleasantly surprised with our numbers. We see this with kindergarten. We see the shift. We see a more drastic shift because they're getting in, they're learning, they're absorbing the knowledge.
50% though.
Yes. So I'll keep you posted on when we do our screenings, how many.
Yeah, that's.
Coming year.
How many did it used to be? I know you're new,
I don't know because this was,
your second, yeah.
yeah, it's only my second year, so last year was my first year doing case screenings because remember they did
Yeah,
it
that's-
prior at the beginning. So
I
it's,
feel like that's a lot more than,
it is, and we'll probably see very similar numbers for this incoming kindergarten. We'll see, because they fill out a survey, so we get to see what they've had, where they've gone.
and the screening is absolutely, do other schools do the screening like that? Okay. It's just, I think the screenings are so comprehensive and really give us a good idea of what students are going to need next year.
Yes.
50%, yeah, that's, wow.
So if there's no questions on literacy, I'm going to go right into math.
Yes,
Math, as you can see, we are pretty stable. So I want to caution with our math scores. So when we do our fall assessment, it's the end of, so if they're in first grade, it's the end of kindergarten. They're assessed at end of kindergarten standards because they should have learned all of the end of kindergarten standards coming into first grade. When you do your mid-year assessment, it's mid-year of the current grade that you're in. So yes, you see some shifts, but one of the things it is very important, so I'm looking at my second grade, and even though our green went from 81 to 71, it's because they were assessed at first grade. So we want to see everyone at least 80% in the green coming in. The projection, the fact that we already have 71% in the green midway at second grade it gives us our projections that we're on target for having 80% at the end of the year.
and what was, okay.
So I will share because you don't have the little charts.
I know, I wish, yeah, I want to see
So
this.
I'll just give them to you.
Yeah,
In kindergarten, we had 1% in red, yellow was 19%, and it looks like 80% in the green, which is great considering those kids coming in
why
really
is that
didn't
so
have.
good?
It's,
What are we doing right?
Math, so remember, the math screener is really looking at different components of math, and it takes the language out. So for kids coming in, if you're a visual learner, it's,
And they don't need to read.
but even at our mid-year, 5% red, 17% yellow, and 78% for kindergarten in the green. We also have a lot of, math is the one where we've had a consistent coach over the years.
I was going to say, we've had a very
And so we also
consistent
had,
math
last
coach.
year, we had Shelby. I can't remember her last name. She's at Turkey Hill this year. She came in and did math professional development with our staff. We had a year-long math professional development. And it was well worth it. This year, Shelby is providing that same professional development over to Turkey Hill.
Okay. That's
Thank you. Shelby Strong.
Shelby Strong. Okay, thank you. Yeah. we've
And
had-
we still have, just like we have literacy, we have the tiered instruction through our interventionist that provides math, targeted intervention for math as well. Same thing, monthly PLCs. We did the data dive, we analyzed, so there's shifts in our math groups as well.
What do you need more of?
Well, I think continued investment in coaching time, intervention, staffing, and request to maintain the implementation.
Oh, so the
And
things-
fidelity across literacy and math instruction. That may shift because our needs are shifting. I know Dr. Fortuna touched upon it a little bit earlier, but we at least need to have what we have currently.
Yeah.
We cannot lose positions, because without the positions that we have, this support will not exist.
Are we seeing the effects of the cuts?
I will say, so last year, primary school had 2 interventionists and a tutor. We are down to 1 interventionist, and we were not able to secure a tutor until December 1st. So, yep, the number of students that were able to, without the grant funded and the free training that we're getting, we would not be able to hit as many students as we have traditionally hit because of the decrease in staffing.
Okay.
So, as I've spoken before, this year, we're feeling the impacts of all of the cuts throughout the years. And it is going to be extremely difficult to maintain the rigorous curriculum and instruction for our students if we continue to cut.
Okay.
And then the last, I'm going to, positive, we do have a goal number 3 that is around culture and climate. And there is an error in this, and I saw this. It is not SOR, it's SRO, which is our school resource officer. So Tim and myself went to a training last year. We went and our Alice trained, so we provide training. And this year we've provided, now to every building in the district has had Alice training that is specific to their building, in conjunction with Officer Monroe, who has gone with us and has provided that training.
And have you, on your school climate and culture, are you seeing a difference in the efforts we're making?
I do. I'm going to be very honest, I worry. With the multiple roles that I shared earlier, it is really difficult for us to be instructional leaders and support our staff in the way that we need to when we are filling in multiple roles. So, as we discussed earlier, it's pretty, Mike and I are one-to-ones with students. It's really difficult to support that instructional rigor and be there for staff. And it's not a lack of trying. Multiple interviews, multiple offers, and it just hasn't led to a hire we still are down 2 paraprofessionals. So we will roll our sleeves up and continue to do what we do and support the staff, but I'm not going to, I worry that the impact on the culture and climate of the building suffers because of that.
Yeah, that's difficult.
So that is my school improvement update.
I do want to say I have noticed a shift in the family inclusion and more reaching out to families. It's sort of like an attitude, I guess, about including families a little more. I've noticed a little bit of a shift in that goal, so thank you.
We're trying.
It's hard to quantify, but
And I want to say, we have a new volunteer who used to be a school committee member.
Oh, good.
She comes for 2 hours a week.
Carol, come.
It is Carol. So she has been helping in the area of literacy with students.
Oh, that's
So if
amazing.
there's anybody out there that wants to come and volunteer, we are open and willing. You need to have a query check, but we will be happy to have you come in and help us.
I got to go in and I did a few things in December, and it was really fun to come in and see them all in their element.
It's still really nascent, so I haven't even talked to Principal Spire about this, but the senior center has approached me about starting a tutoring program with the senior center. Dr. Sarfty is willing to train the tutors as well. So look for more help coming soon, Carla.
Thank you.
Yeah, there's some seniors who are excited to come in and help, which is it's nice. Well, thank you for all your efforts and wearing so many big hats.
Dr. Fortuna said that Mrs. Squire would be the most vocal of us. I think the easiest thing from my end for now is you have my report in front of you. Do you have any questions?
Same question about are there things that you need? Which I know you've probably already answered in your
People,
many
staff,
budget meetings, but
We have
what do you need?
0.5 interventionist in our building. Last year, we had an interventionist and a 0.5 tutor. That 0.5 interventionist is also a 0.5 special education teacher. So when it comes to meeting the needs of all of our kids that have needs, I think it's safe to say we're not doing as well as we did last year. We are doing the best that we can. Hopefully, Dr. Fortuna will not limit the volunteers from the senior center just to the cute kids at the primary school.
Cute at your school, too.
Yeah, most of them.
Just a little.
We could certainly welcome that. And on top of volunteering, if anyone has the inclination and the skill and is willing to be a substitute teacher, we are always looking for substitutes. As Carla said, there are times we are covering, and we're covering because we don't have a sub to cover for a classroom for an ill teacher or for professional development. The professional development that we are doing in math, the teachers are eating up. I think the neat part about this is that there's the professional development, there's time for implementation. We do a walkthrough with the professional developer and see the learning in action for our teachers, kind of follow up and say, how is that going? What do we need to do? Keeping us focused and moving forward. And we do as well continue to work reviewing all of our benchmark data, adjusting our approach to intervention to make sure that the students who most need and will most benefit from the support are the ones who are getting the support, and always talking about how can we do things differently to make things work better with the limited time and faculty and staff that we have.
Are you seeing the effects of the cuts from last year?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. As I said, when we were talking this morning with Dr. Starfy, and we don't have, it's not the people.
No.
We don't have the time, we don't have the facilities in place to meet the needs of our students as we may have been in the past, and as good as we could with the people that we have. I think just to touch on the final one here, our last school is on school community as well. We do a lot to help build our school community at Turkey Hill, but I think the best indicator here is our vocal data from MCAS. The students in grades 4 and 5 take a survey about school after their last MCAS test.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that's the best time to give the
I
kids a
know,
survey
that's what
about
they always
school.
say.
But
Terrible time.
the positive perceptions about school, about teachers, about their environment, about feeling safe, about liking their school, about their teachers caring about them, about people meeting their needs, all went up, which is great.
That's amazing.
So I don't have one in your school this year, which I miss because I love Turkey Hill. You're still doing the after-school programs?
We still do the after-school winter and spring. Winter is going on right now.
I mean, I wanted to thank you for that because, like, my kid is having so much fun, and I mean, it takes takes teacher volunteers, and I know it's a lot of work, but
Yeah, and I think
I
it's
mean, it's
good for the
just-
community
it's really good
engagement.
for the
It lets kids be social with kids outside of their classroom,
Yeah.
together.
Yeah, they
in a-
love
in a
it. Oh my
safe
God.
community environment. I think
Supporting one another
Yeah.
and knowing that it's not just me and the kids in my class.
Yeah.
It's me and the kids in this building, and kids in the community.
I think the after-school programs go a really long way, especially for, say, the fourth and the fifth graders who are going off to middle school next year. I think that's really important. So I'm really glad that you're still doing that.
We will keep it. There'll be another one in the spring.
Okay. Mr. Stantry?
Great. I also submitted a written report for both the middle and the high school, and I'll be glad to field any questions that you may have.
I want to say your Instagram, whoever's running your Instagram is doing a great job with the sports department and everything, and also the town Facebook. They've been sharing stuff, and I just feel like there's a lot more information there, like about games, like the sports games and stuff. Like, it's easy. I know there's probably a website, but it's easier for me to find, like, hey, if my kids and I want to go see the basketball game and stuff. That's been real. That is, I definitely think is, and other stuff, not just sports, like homecoming, concerts, that kind of stuff.
That's great to hear, because that's our goal number 3 for our
Yeah,
high
no, it's
school
on here, and I do want to tell you, I have seen a difference.
Thank
So,
you.
And students, I know some girls who babysit for my kids and stuff. They'll repost stuff, and so I do think for the kids as well, it's the way they communicate.
And I love how in the fall sports season, we had some successful teams, like the girls field hockey. I like how we were cheering them on and, town pride and proud of
Yeah.
them for as far as they got. And
Sure.
which was the team that got the
It
sportsmanship
was them, I
award?
think.
Girls
right?
field hockey.
Girls field hockey. I think that was fantastic.
And I would love to share at some point when I speak with Ms. Burns around gate numbers for just numbers of students and parents coming out to root on our athletics. So I think that'll
Yeah.
be some good numbers to have.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. Oh yeah, you can go.
I was just going to ask about the chronic absenteeism. Have you noticed any shift in decreasing that so far this year?
I don't have any numbers for you. I can tell you kind of the resources that were put forth for that. Luckily, this year, I have an administrative apprentice that's got 500 hours of tasks that I can provide in order to get administrative licensure, and that person's almost 80% of her sole responsibility is tracking attendance. So meeting a benchmark in which they would have a student meeting as well as a letter home to parents, excuse me. A second letter if that attendance continues to not be successful. We've had school psychologists in our SRO doing home visits in order to try to get families back in. Some students have some very unique needs with mental health and other things that are impacting their ability to come in. So we continue to try to work with those families to provide them the resources that they need. I am hoping that we're going to see a downward trend in chronic absenteeism, but the trend through the state has been an increase. So, and I know that we've been working at that.
What is the definition of chronic absenteeism as far as the number that you would send a letter home to parents to say that your child has missed so many days of school?
So that would be 10% of the school year, so it's 18 days. And I believe our handbook says if you miss, I hope I don't get this wrong.
I can't remember.
I think it's
read the
if it's,
handbook, I promise,
if it's
but I-
18, you'd no longer receive credit for that class. So if it was a full year class at 9, we would be reaching out to families to let them know that this is a concern.
Okay.
January's come, you've met the 50% mark for your attendance. If it was a semester class, that would probably come in at 4.5, because then there will be 9 absences that they have in order to maintain that they have credit for that.
And that's not including sickness or medically
No.
excused or anything like that?
Excused, yes, no, we are not
It's
tyrants,
just
so if.
no
yeah.
reason, just not showing up to school. I
Exactly.
mean, there's reasons. I'm not saying there's no reasons, but they don't.
The definition of an excused
Present a
absence,
reason,
we
right.
would provide them. So if you have a doctor's note
Yeah.
or there's a family emergency, we're not counting that towards chronic absenteeism.
Has the school officer and psychologist been received well when coming to the homes?
That's a mixed review sometimes.
It has worked.
It's
I-
been year after year in which we're doing some home visits, and sometimes a one-time visit is
And
all we need in
not
order to
scary.
motivate students to get into school. So it's really, I would say, a case-by-case basis with families. But sometimes even bringing Hank out, that's a little,
Yeah.
it's a little help initiative to get him back in.
I was going to say, I got to witness, there was just, you want to get in the car with Hank and I'll drive you to school. And
Same.
that attitude of get in the car with the dog and I'll drive you to school.
What a wonderful resource our SROs are. I
yeah.
understand they don't come under our budget, but that would be a
Yeah, that-
huge loss to lose them.
The SROs do it in a very, not a scary way, which they're a really important resource when it comes to the chronic absences.
And
And
at the high school, they can be a little scary at times when we need to.
if it needs, yeah. Okay,
Thank you.
You're welcome.
yeah, thank you very, oh, and same question, are you seeing the effects and what do you need?
We're seeing the great effects. I would say at the high school is really where we're seeing it. It's just, I am so proud to be part of a dedicated faculty that's able to keep programs in place for students, but it's taking a toll on them. We don't want to take a reactive approach to education, a reactive approach to support, and at times I see that's what we're having to do. We're reacting to things instead of being proactive because we couldn't be in a hallway in order to be a deterrent to a behavior, or we couldn't be in a classroom to provide a little bit of coaching for a teacher, or we can't be there. Teachers are taking on more responsibilities in their classroom. There are more kids in their classroom, so.
You're also down an administrator.
We're down an administrator, absolutely. So that support that we can't provide to teachers in terms of behavior management or student behavior, now they're managing it. It's a cycle that is not conducive to success. So although my teachers and faculty are working extremely hard, the task they have is extremely hard
I think it's
also.
taking a toll on the students as well.
I
have
agree.
a student in the high school. Just the larger classes in some ways is just really hard, and some of the behavioral management stuff that you were talking about. The kids that don't maybe are right on that line of needing the help but can't get it because other kids need it more is kind of taxing as well on students and teachers, I think.
Sure. And we've had a discussion around how we had a reduction of special education teachers at the high school, and now that's, we're on being able to provide services, but maybe not at the top notch that we had in the past.
Yeah, it's hard.
Okay, you guys have more questions? We good?
All
All
right.
right.
Thank you so much.
Oh, across all the board. Yeah,
Across-
the board, but I don't have a student at Turkey Hill yet, but I have a student in the high school and a student at primary, so I can just speak to that, but yeah,
But I would
can see it.
say we're seeing an increase in
Yep.
student behavior, not the staffing to the ratios that we used to have. So over the years, there's been cuts, and teachers are taking on more and not necessarily having the support they need immediately from their administrators, because we are taking on more, so it has that trickle down. But we're still producing with our benchmark. We still continue to see, so teachers are really.
But how hard is everybody working?
That's
so hard.
And that is
Like,
what, and I don't know if it's sustainable.
Right.
And I worry about burnout for teachers leaving. That's the reality, and it's
I
scary.
mean, I've said it before, my son has a 30-student Spanish class. To me, that is out of control. That's 30 students to one teacher. It's just crazy to me. That's a lot of kids in one room and a lot of kids with a lot of needs, and they're not all able to get met with one person.
To learn a foreign
leading
language.
and instructing.
Which is not,
Yeah.
And if we don't restore that position, those numbers won't improve.
Right,
They'll get worse.
yeah, because I remember the discussion last year. I wasn't on the school committee last year, but I remember all that discussion about that, and here we are.
I also think it's, and I think we're preaching to the choir, but it's good for the public as well. You know, a lot of these kids went through an unprecedented time in their life that no one has ever gone through before, where the community shut down for over a year, and we are still seeing the effects of that. So when folks say, well, we used to do it with less, right? Or we used to do whatever, whether that's true or not, we can also say that these students and these
They
kids
need more now.
have been through something that none of us lived through as children. Like we were talking about the kindergarten class, or even the kids in the 5th grade. Like my son's class didn't have kindergarten, and that just.
But I think what kids are coming to school with now,
Yeah.
in the mental health side, that we may not have addressed
Yep.
years ago with social media. Think about all of the things that are prevalent for students that they have access to, but don't know how to navigate. And we're seeing some of those side effects.
Yeah.
And not having the resources, it can be challenging. Students are not coming from traditional homes. There's a lot of trauma that kids have endured that we are dealing with on a day-to-day, yet we're still, at this point, teachers are working really hard to get the results that we're getting. At what cost? To our teachers? Students, I worry about that. When you have students that needs are not being met, and they don't have to be on an IEP to have needs not being met. There are a lot of students that we could be doing more for, but with the limited resources that we have, we're doing the best that we can with what we have. It's not enough.
And the
So as we
issues
start to talk
amplify.
about budget cuts, or, we used to do this, why can't we do that? We will be happy to share what we can. We've encouraged, we've encouraged teachers to use their voice like we do students, to speak up. So you may be hearing more from teachers, because as administration, we stood as a united front last year, and it needs to come from beyond just the administration. We need our teachers to feel safe that they can come and vocalize everything that they're experiencing, and there is nothing that is going to come of that. I think at this point, we need to hear from boots on the ground. This is what I'm doing in my classroom. This is the support I need.
There was a few teachers that came to the tri-board meeting, and that was really helpful.
That was-
And I think it was really eye-opening for people that are not familiar with the school community, or are not teachers like I am, or I think that was a huge thing for other people on other boards to watch
and I think some
and see.
community members have in their head a set idea of what Lunenburg schools are because that was their experience, not realizing that you're not getting the same experience. The student needs are different and evolving. The demands of laws and necessary regulations are exponentially increasing each year. And it's a different time. And then our students went through COVID, and then even with the incoming kindergarten class, who they don't remember COVID at all, but it affected the way that parenting was happening, and it affected the children. I appreciate you guys coming and talking to us, especially about the budget things, as painful as it is for me to sit here and hear, knowing that we had to make hard decisions last year, but I do appreciate you advocating for your people as well, and I do appreciate the,
And can I just say something about the handicap bathrooms at Turkey Hill?
yes, please.
Because I wanted to say this earlier, but I didn't. Being a principal there and having a student in a wheelchair and having to toilet that student, it was a male student without handicap accessible bathrooms. It is really challenging trying to navigate a wheelchair through a bathroom and then getting a student who has both legs in cast was really challenging. So I understand the whole logistics of everything, but when we talk about social or preserving social dignity and creating independence, it's one thing we work so hard from preschool until they leave us in second grade, and to know that they may not have that independence or the skills to do something so vital that we do on a day-to-day basis is very heartbreaking for a student. And I know the bathrooms over there. I remember when I came there and they told me I had an ensuite for in the principal's office. It is the nurse's bathroom. That was the ensuite. It was, yes. So then I went to the primary school where there is an office bathroom that I can use that I'm not sharing with students. So there is very limited bathrooms over at Turkey Hill. And if you need to have a wider space or something that's more accessible, it's not. And so I just put it out there because it was uncomfortable for me to do that for a student, and then trying to navigate a wheelchair to learn how to toilet a student. That can be a little embarrassing, and it doesn't really preserve social dignity.
I mean, it's embarrassing we don't have, it's completely embarrassing that we have not addressed this problem yet. So, I mean, and for the town and for everyone,
No, we have been lucky these past 2 years.
I mean, it's just, yeah, I mean, not to interrupt you, but it's embarrassing. This should have been fixed 5 to 10 years ago. I'm just saying, I'm not sure that it's the way to go about, I'm not confident she can do it, and I think it's going to take a lot of work and effort and political capital, and I love Margaret Scarsdale. We are friendly. I enjoy her company. She is wonderful. I don't honestly think she can do it. So to me, spending the political capital on something she can't do just feels...
We're going to try to get it.
Right, but I'm just telling you that is my position. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing the last school committee, or the last few school committees didn't address it.
Well, they did try to address it.
Well, even if they tried to address it, and the town, I mean, whatever, I'm just saying, like...
It definitely has come up many, many times.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been watching the school committee now for
There's been a lot
4-ish
of
years.
kicking the can down the road
Yep.
when it comes to
And
Turkey
I'm not
Hill.
blaming you, I'm
Oh,
not saying,
no,
I'm just saying,
no,
like,
I'm
in
saying
general,
it's been
it's embarrassing that
frustrating.
nobody has...
There's been a lot of kicking the can down the road, and like...
terrible.
It has been years, and I had a conversation in the hallway a couple of days ago, imagining if there was a student for every locker that we have in the building, that there definitely weren't enough bathrooms for everybody, never mind if you had special needs or needed accommodations.
People weren't as hydrated back then.
Or the adults.
That's 100% true.
So-
They
I never
weren't
carried
carrying
a
around
water
bottles
bottle
of water back then.
No one had to go to the bathroom.
I really...
Nobody peed.
All right, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so we are cruising along. Public comment from the public. Do we have anyone on Zoom? Okay, Chris or Liz, got anything more to say? Okay, do you guys have any comments? All right, reports, subcommittee reports.
I have one. Hold on one sec. Gotta pull it
I'm
up.
sorry, I missed my subcommittee this week. It got rescheduled because of the snow.
Oh, I didn't take notes.
So the Paxel support group happened. We were at Coffee Connections at Smokestack.
I saw you.
Just for a change of scenery. there was a small group, but we've discussed some upcoming event ideas, and what's going to happen at the next few meetings also weighs on how we can spread the word and grow the group some more. Tomorrow, there will be a meeting focusing on behavioral concerns and management for parents that need it, and that will be held on Zoom and at the middle high school. And then on March 5th, there will be an interactive session with the Story School Camp at the library, starting at 6 p.m., for parents to explore how that camp works. It is not coordinated with the school at all, really, but it should be fun. So if you have a student on an IEP, a 504, an L learner, or anyone that just feels they need more support with their student in the schools, feel free to join us.
Building reuse met on Monday. My microphone wasn't working, so I got to communicate via text that the chair was reading out, so that was really fun.
In the room in your
No, it was Zoom. It was Zoom. No, that would be insane. No.
That felt insane.
It was Zoom, and I can't get the stupid thing to work.
No.
It
totally
was
understand
so
that.
frustrating.
I'm more just listening.
But we discussed next steps and space usage. It's looking right now like the plan that the committee is going, the direction the committee is going in is to use Ritter as town hall entirely, but to have either an addition or retrofit the current addition to be more at grade, so that we wouldn't have to deal with steps inside the internals of the building, and that we could fit town hall offices into an addition on Ritter. Because if you look at it slopes down, and it looks like we might be able to even dig out and have.
Strange shape.
It does. And then this would be a meeting space downstairs, and then up here, likely PAC, and their space, which would make the downstairs more accessible without the need for stairs. And it would become meeting spaces and then a room for growth for town hall. But that would get us all into one building. And then we discussed a little bit what the town wanted as far as cost and everything. It looks like we're moving along. We still need to talk to departments about their space needs. And I'm not sure where that fits in regards to an override, because it's not a great time to be voting on also building a new town hall. So I'm not
Happened last year, right? That didn't go over so well.
Yeah.
There was a lot of asks last
Yeah,
year.
that's
and
what I'm saying.
It's
There was-
hard to fit things in because it's obvious that we need an accessible.
We need so much.
Meeting space. We need more meeting spaces in town. Town hall really needs to be unified, but it's a very difficult thing to do. And no one in this town wants to spend any more money than necessary.
So a few pieces of feedback I heard through last year
Yep.
is, number one, people who work in tech now don't really understand why everyone needs to be in a big building. I'm not questioning the merits of that. I'm just saying I think whatever people are selling, right, that really needs to be addressed, because there's a lot of people in town who work entirely from home. So why would they vote for a town hall to put everyone in the same building where they don't do that, right, with their job? I think that's just something to think about. And I think the meeting space, while wonderful, I thought last year they did not have a lot of real details about who would manage the meeting space, how much it would cost, who would run it, like all of that kind of stuff. So, I mean, I'm happy to write a personal letter to the group.
Yeah, if you want to write that.
But I think those are two things that really didn't sell it last year.
Yeah. Okay.
Because it was a lot of meeting space.
I know that.
But
We've looked at, space needs, and there's a lot of public-facing people downstairs. There's people who need to be in the building, people who need to access. A lot of stuff is still done on paper, which I know, like,
Yeah.
Tony would rant about,
right.
but a lot of it has to legally be done on
we
paper.
we still work in
Which
my office for a law
makes it-
firm. But you have to understand, right, if someone works from home full-time.
Yep.
The argument that you have to be in the same building as someone else, to them, they're like, that's not an argument, because I've never worked in the same building as the people
Yeah.
I work with.
I think that's kind of the direction the select board and the town manager wanted us to go in, so that's where we're still going, instead of just retrofitting both buildings. And I think it would be easier from a management standpoint if the town manager was physically present instead of two different factions of employees.
But they have to actually argue for people to vote for it.
Yes.
Right, so-
But I'm not sure where we're going to end up in that process and the timing of things.
Yeah.
In regards to the rest of the town and what needs to happen, because there's other things coming up that are important as well. But, yeah, you should come to a meeting and
Yeah, like I have time for that.
these are the best meetings. They end in an hour.
Okay, maybe,
This last one was over at like 6:35.
yeah, sure, send me the invite.
Yeah, Mr. Blatt runs a very fast meeting, very organized. I love it. Okay, and that was my,
I missed my last meeting because
went to a
we had to reschedule it, Carla. I'm sorry I didn't make it on Monday.
there was a wellness subcommittee meeting as well, and we talked about the
I was going to go, but then they had to reschedule it because of
the
the snow.
survey.
Yeah, it was a snow day.
And then I unmuted accidentally, never could hear me telling my kid not to throw stuff out the window.
Hey, I mean, we've all done it.
So, okay, that was it. All right, so that's it for subcommittees.
And just PTO, if anyone wants tickets to the special someone dance, we've got like 15 left for the last dance.
And what's
so
the date of it?
It's this Saturday. And it makes me very happy that all the people are coming. Wear your best.
It's a great event.
And I have actually a lot of teenagers, middle high school students who are volunteering, which is fantastic. So, people that used to come when they were kids, definitely kids from National Honor Society, but other teenagers as well. That
I love that.
once a volunteer, you got to teach kids to volunteering is fun. Is sort of right, like
It's not a bad idea.
and, yeah.
Okay, topics for future discussion.
Turkey Hill bathroom.
Turkey
Turkey Hill bathroom.
I was kind of kidding, but not really.
Fine.
I feel like it needs to be a continuous discussion.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I don't hope you're not a.
And I think, I assume the override will be an ongoing
Yes, override every time.
topic and the budget reports. I would like it, I didn't look last, did we get a personnel report last?
No, I don't think we've
So
had a
we used to
personnel
get a
report.
monthly personnel report from Dr. Burnham, which was useful to see as someone who was in negotiating committees for contracts. It was useful to see who was coming and going and where we were losing staff. So if we could go back to getting I think it was a quarterly personnel report. But if we could go back to getting a personnel report, I also am nosy and if someone's retiring or if that's coming up, I think that's important to know as well. But if there's a year that we could not keep maintenance people, that's important for us to know. So is that something we can do, Dr. Fortuna? Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, yeah, if we could go to a personnel report, one that kind of catches us up.
We also talked about at the tri-board meeting how the chart that Chris Menard had was not up to date. Is that something we could get to him?
The FY '26
promptly
numbers
so
for
that the
personnel.
chart looks accurate and he sees that there were cuts? I
Oh,
can't
you're
hear
still
you.
muted.
We can't hear you.
Oh, still muted.
We can't hear you.
I believe Chris has that already
good.
go.
Okay, can we get that,
Could
see
we get it?
too, and can we get that to the finance committee or?
Absolutely.
Okay. And I had some more information about that I was wondering, but I will email you with the information I'd like to overlay on that, like IEPs and low-income and EL students. And teacher ratios. Okay. Motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. All right, good night, everyone. We are
Good night,
adjourned
everyone.
at 9:23.